What's up, family? I hope everybody's having a good start to the week. Listen, I wanted to follow up on a video I made a couple days ago when I had shared with you about the Church of Thessalonians, the Church of Thessalonica, and the Thessalonians, where Paul saw those three characteristics that were just evident that they had turned away from the way they were living to follow Christ. As we would put today, they were 10 toes down for Christ, right? And those three characteristics were what? Faith, love, and hope. And when I got to that love part, I had turned you to the parable of the Good Samaritan. So for some of y'all that looked it up, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you don't, I'll summarize real quick. See, this person who knew all about the law, well educated, challenges Christ to see what he would say, as a lot of them were doing back then. And he asked him, basically, what would I need to do to get to heaven? And he says, well, what is what does Moses say? And so he tells him, love your God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself. And he's just pretty much, Christ, and I'm totally summarizing, okay? I'm not reading verbatim, but Christ pretty much says, yeah, hey, you got it, good to go, right? And so the guy said he wanted to be justified, and so he returns back with another question, and he asks Christ, who's my neighbor? And then so Christ goes on to tell about the parable of the Good Samaritan, where the man was walking down from Jerusalem to Jericho. He gets pretty much jumped, beat up, clothes ripped, and these high priests and people that you thought would have helped did not help until the Samaritan came by and actually helped him. And in that story, what you don't know is these two were straight up enemies. Okay? And so the reason why this is important, family, to are you loving your neighbor? And what I truly mean by that is, right now in this moment, are you loving your enemy? Because it's clear that Christ is saying your neighbors just ain't the ones that you get along with. I'm just going to let that sink in a moment. Christ, your God, to my Christians, he's not saying that your neighbor is the ones that you get along with. He's saying your neighbor is your enemy. Now, you're probably wondering then, if you're not familiar, well, then what does the Bible say about our enemies? What does this mean then? Love your enemy. Well, let me break down a couple things to you. So in Matthew 44, Christ again is saying, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And similarly, Luke 27:28 instructs, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. Now, let me just share something with you. In the biblical language, these words mean just something a little bit more deeper, right? So when we look at that word, bless those who curse you, bless. In the biblical language, I'm going to butcher this, so some of my scholars correct me, but we get the root word is eulegeo, which translates to bless or praise. That root word is where we get the word eulogy. Now let me ask you, what do you do at a eulogy? You pay your respects. You praise. You talk about the good things, right? And hopefully in those moments, you're putting down any type of animosity and any type of quarrels that maybe you guys had. Family, these are not my words. These are Christ's words. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, your neighbor. Matter of fact, Proverbs says, and Paul would even state that if your enemy was hungry, feed them. And if they came to you thirsty, give them something to drink. I just want you to chew on that a minute. Right now, with all this going on and all the people you unfriended and all the people you blew up on and you drew these lines in the sand, I would just challenge you to take a breath, pray, check your heart and ask yourself, if you're a Christian, are you loving your neighbor? Be blessed, y'all.